So I fixed this a little bit here, and I do apologize. I'm running a little late. We got a new setup for some of our coaching room mess. We got a big event we're doing. We start up our new office, so that's on September 3rd. So trying to figure that out, dealing with a little COVID, and we had a lunch today. So if people wondering what goes on in the real estate world, it's never a dull moment. So welcome to everybody in the wonderful world here on Facebook as well as Zoom. And let's get ourselves started here. We're going to jump to our objections that we're going to talk about today. We've been really focusing on that. I watched a really good video yesterday with Mike Ferry on why now is the time period that you need to be getting listings. For anybody that's out there right now, anybody want to throw into the mix or want to say it on Facebook, why right now is the main reason why you should? Any takers? Anybody want to take a wild guess on why listings right now your one thing? I'll tell you this specifically, what we're doing, and then you're going to see why it's so important. Listings are so important right now because I want you to think about a squirrel. What does a squirrel do during the winter? Well, the same thing is going to take shape here, that this market is not going to continue to be the same exact thing that it is right this minute or this month. Squirrel, you got to hide. You got to keep it, you got to hide them getting ready for the winter. And so it's the same thing that we got to do right now and start to prepare for that, because nobody instantaneously that you're calling or reaching out is going to say, I want to sell my house today. Well, yes, I guess they can. But for the majority of it, you want to start building that pipeline to be able to say, okay, I'm thinking about selling my home in a couple weeks. I'm thinking about, maybe in the future. You want to start building your pipeline because you need to start getting listings. You need to start building your. So today in our office, just to let you know, one of the most important things on September 1st is when your expired listings are the highest. So there's a couple important days usually in the year for real estate agents. It's January 1st, it's July 1st, and any first of the month. But January 1st and July 1st are really typical, and that's because most agents do 6-month listings. And so for those that are out for whatever reason, most agents do not. They just do 6-month calendar, and they always end it on the last day of the month. So as real estate agents, we know that there's a lot of expireds out there. So we focus on that, and we try to reach out. I had some really good conversations with a lot of agents today in reference to expiring and why my phone keeps blowing up. But because for those real estate agents out there who are trying to figure out whether or not I should make these dials and everybody else is calling them, well, just tell you this, that majority of the people that I've talked to, I don't even know how many real estate agents there are. Mike, how many real estate agents are there? How many agents are there in this area? 1,000? All right, there's 14,000 real estate agents, 14,000 agents out there. Want to take a guess how many people have told me how many phone calls they got today? The largest number I received was, this lady said to me, you're the 12th person to call me today. So 14,900, actually one of the board members are actually in our office, and 12 people called. So there's really not that much competition. And if you're really good at your scripts and know what to say to people and you give value, then you're going to have no problem with picking up some extra listings and opportunities. And I had some really good conversations with people today. So for thought in reference to what that looks like for you, that there are some opportunities today in our market. There was 59 expired listings. And of the 59 of them, I've talked to already 42 of them, have 2 listing appointments, and had several great conversations for people later down the road that I might be able to have conversations with. So is it worth it? Absolutely. Do I have more potential than I started? Well, the biggest reason why most people don't do it is because they really just don't know what to say. And so that's the first part, how it develops. But we didn't talk about what that was today. We talked about what happens when we get the listing objections. I guess part of the objections happen on the phone, and that's what we try to filter out. So what does that look like? Well, the biggest thing is some of the ones I've heard today. COVID. I'm not too sure right now is a good. I've going back to use the same agent. I've heard that they want to do some construction or they want to do some upfits. I've heard that something's changed in their personal life. What are some other main ones? I mean, really, once you hear them, they're pretty much all the same. They just have a different address and a different attached to it. So there's nothing really too crazy with it. So, and for the most part, they're all the same. They're pretty much, once you hear one, it is just different name, different address. Those are the main ones that we deal with and that we hear. So to keep that up front is you want to be able to handle those objections. Like this one lady today, she wasn't very happy and she couldn't understand why people kept calling her. But one of the things that I've realized when it comes time for having this conversation is being proactive. And I said, ma'am, if you don't mind me asking, has your phone been ringing since 7:30 this morning? Oh my goodness, it has. Okay, and it had it ring for a couple hours after that? Yes, it still is. Okay, and did it eventually die down? It did. How do you know this? Well, I also know that your property was active yesterday and today is not active. Yeah, that's a couple other people told me that. I said, well, are you still trying to sell your property? I am. Well, if you were getting an offer today, would you still accept it or where would you be at? I would. And then you just start breaking it down. Well, where would you move to? And I'm moving, what's next on the list? What does that look like for you? And if you just have normal conversations with them, they're not going to get pissed off at you. And they're going to, like, literally, this lady she was really, really upset. By the time I was done with her, okay, she told me that she was once in real estate. She told me that she a place because her previous agent wasn't able to find anything, which is a very big problem. I'm not saying that other real estate agents aren't working hard, but creative in this. How many of you out there have there's no inventory? How many of you can't find homes for your buyers? How many of you can't find homes for your buyers and there's multiple offers? Okay. All right. So there's objections that she's giving you that I'm not going to list because I can't find any homes. There's objections that she's giving you because there is no inventory. I can't make an offer. My contingent. Okay. If Ryan was listening right now through Ribbon is a program that we use to give cash offers, only percent. Total 3%, but you need to negotiate with your seller. So we figured out a way to do 1%, have the seller pay for it, and I got free cash. And now I can come in with a non-contingent offer for my client. We also know to handle an objection based off of there is no inventory. I said to her, what has your real estate agent been sending you? Wow, they send me homes all the time, but I don't really see anything. Okay. Well, when they send you homes all the time and you don't see anything, are they active, coming soon? Something changed? Yes, that's exactly what they. Okay. Well, do they send you expireds? What do you mean by that? Well, if there are no homes of what they're looking at, you got to go find homes that where they might be. So do you go back a year, 2 years, 3 years? Did you go back 4 years? Did you go back 5 years? Did she ask any of these questions on the expireds? Did she ask anything about the withdrawals? Did she say to you what she's been looking up? Did she say to you any programs that she's using to be able to find these phone numbers? I mean, I assume it's safe to say you believe me, you out of the blue. Oh, yeah, I guess so. See, when you educate them and you tell them that you're not trying to be the bad person, you're trying to help them, then they put away their sword and they have a conversation with you a little bit more, and you're able to also explain to them, like, I know what you're going through, and you're able to validate with them, and you're able to assure them, like, I know what you're dealing with. This is, but let me just tell you, this is what we do to help get through this. I end up getting her email address. She wants me to call her back next week, and there's potential to meet. Did I get the listing immediately today? No, but did I build a pipeline? And did I talk to her off the ledge to build something like a squirrel to have a listing coming in 2 weeks? Okay, is that a better opportunity I had than I woke up this morning? Okay. So for those of you who are watching and who are on there, if you have a question for me or an objection that you're hearing, put it in the Facebook, put it in the comments, and that way I can take a look at that so I can try to help you out, because I pretty much have heard every objection under the sun, and I feel like we have a really good job on our team to be able to overcome those. So that way we're able to at least get ourselves an opportunity, because now she's now trusted us to try to at least find some expireds for her. And then there are also potential for us to list her home now. Didn't have it if I didn't know how to handle those objections. So what are some other objections that we hear from sellers? Those are, I'm trying to think of the ones like in the beginning. That's typically what I hear. Need more time, want to think it over. Okay. Give me a call. So it's perfectly fine. You're not going to win them over instantaneously. But what you want to do is you want to be able to set up more value on the road for them. Another thing I hear about for sale by owners is specifically as their objections from listing their house, they want to try it on my own. My neighbors sold their property on their own, so I'm going to try mine. The biggest thing I always tell for sale by owners when you're dealing with their objection is the pain is not great enough yet. Okay. Tony Robbins talks about pain versus pleasure. There's two main people do. Remove the fear of pain or their desire for pleasure. Those are the two main principles of what moves people, and they either move in one direction or the other. They either move from the fear of pain, and they get themselves in a comfort zone. They get themselves in a comatose state, like they don't do anything at all, self going because I don't want to go one way or the other, or the drive or the desire for pleasure. And what does that look like? So those are really two main ingredients that I've learned from Tony Robbins, but the for sale by owners are the same way. Enough pain yet they haven't reached any pleasure, so they stay stagnant, and their ego gets in their way, and they say, okay, I'm just going to be able to sell, I'm going to wait, and I'm going to sell my home because everybody else on the house sold their property, which in this case sometimes is the case. It does take place, and they're able to sell their home on their own. And I always laugh, and then not laugh, but like some of the agents that I listen to, and I get done, I'm like, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there another part to that transaction? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, I didn't hear you say to the agent or to the seller on the other side as well, it sounds like you already got yourself under control on the sell side. So I'd like to be able to have an opportunity to help you interview for the buyer agency side. Have you interviewed any buyer agents? They literally do pause because they aren't too sure, like, well, I haven't thought about it that way. See, a lot of times people only focus on what today brings. They just use Zillow and Realtor.com and apps to be able to be able to home, but they haven't really looked up another real estate agent. So there's an opportunity to at least ask them, well, could I have an opportunity to at least interview for the buyer agency side? And when you start adding value and start sharing with them, well, some of the techniques and things that you use, and that's why we use the expired technique quite a bit. And when you're able to share with them the expired side of it, is like, well, I mean, what are you going to show me differently? Well, how easy is that to show you differently? Well, I get all the expired from the last 5 years, and you already told me your criteria and match that, and be able to share with you some of the homes that are out there, and you tell me which one you like. I'll call the owner and see if they can do it, or I'll drive out there and call them. Is there anybody else offering you that right now? No, great. Well, can we then? Okay, giving myself opportunities, overcoming those objections that the for sale by owners are giving me, so that way I can get at the list. Well, what happens at the listing table, and that's a key ingredient. We talked about the pre-qualifying. Qualifying, giving them all the information that ahead of time will help you out with that. So that way, when you're sitting there at the listing table, you pretty much already know the game plan. All right. You pretty much know the cards that are going to be laid out because you're pretty set it up. It's like kind of going into a game. When you see their offense, you're like, okay, I know they throw the ball a lot, so I am ready. Now, they might catch you up. Their tendencies pretty much will stay the same, and most people always revert back to their normalcy. So in this case, I already know some of the key ingredients. I already sent them over my testimonials. I already sent them over the pre-listing material. I've already sent them over my seller net sheet. I've already done my pre-qualifying. I already know how many agents they've also interviewed. I already know what their decision. I already know what their time period is. I know all this stuff. So it makes it a lot easier going into it to be able to have my conversations. I already know what I'm doing. Like I already know I'm going to stand, I'm going to do my walkthrough, going to do my tour. It's either going to be fast or slow, depending on their personality, which I already know. If there's a driver, I'm really quickly. If they're not a driver, they're going to ask me a lot of questions. I try to stay in the front of the line. So when they're doing the tour, I don't let them give the tour because it'll take forever. If I'm doing the tour, I kind of walk through it on my own. All these things when I'm doing my listing presentation because time is very important to me and I don't want to be there for 2 hours. So I got to be able to dictate that. Not every agent will tell you to walk, some people say walk the property yourself. Some people say to go with them to build rapport. It all depends on what I'm pretty sure if you're getting 10 out of 10 listings, then it's working for you to keep what you're doing. If you're getting 2 out of 10, it's probably not working for you. So you might want to change things up. If you're fine with 70%, 80%, you're doing okay. So that's typically what I do. I go through that and then I go sit at their table. I sit at their kitchen table. I don't sit on their couch. I don't swear that is a comforting position. Just like if I was going to a corporate office, they don't say, hey, do you want to come on my lazy boy? Do you want to go watch TV? No, I go sit at the kitchen table and I get myself in a position that I am there. I'll have, if they offer me water, I always accept water. I'll, whatever it is that they're offering, soda or water, plus, it's also my go-to. So if I need a pause or a break and I need to do a quick thought, they might ask me something. One of my techniques is like, oh, excuse me, I'll grab, well, I'm getting that in my time period to think about a response that I want to do because they caught me off guard. They don't know that, but that's a technique and a strategy that's bought me a couple extra seconds when I need to think about things. See, it's all game planning ahead of time, knowing what I need to do and being prepared. It's part of my coaching from when I coached football. Prepared, and now I do the same thing in my listing presentations. So I pretty much go through the basics of my listing presentation. I don't talk a lot about myself. My past, talk about my family, talk about my kids. I talk a little bit about my business, and then I get right into. So I really appreciate your time. It was an honor for you guys to be able to give me this opportunity. I know you've had a lot of agents wanting to, sit here with you and the opportunity to sell the most expensive thing that you have. The things I want to do is go through the numbers, and I'm going to talk about the other homes that I've looked at. Okay, I only give 3 to 4 comparables. I don't give a lot of confusing. To the seller net sheet, pulls out 3 prices. Okay, notice I only said 3 to 4 for comparables, 3 prices. It's much easier. It's easier to go over. I then make sure that every single person at the table has one. So the husband, the wife, the significant other, their partner, whatever it is, everybody's got a copy. Why? Because they want to have their own, write notes down. They want to look at things. Whatever it is, they want their own. I have one and both people have one, or whoever's at the table. So the objectives typically take place right now. All right. Why is that? It's because it's numbers. But I already know that going into it. I have a script that I say when I do my sheet, the right side is the highest, the left side is the lowest. Most people really like the right side, so we'll start there for what you like. Okay? That's literally my script. And I go down the numbers. I don't pause on any other specific, get any worried. I don't do anything special because it's a commission time period. I talk about what they owe on the property. I bring it up. I already knew a little bit what to do. Because most of them already told me when I did my pre-qualifying, so I know that number is pretty accurate. I go through that. I go through right down my entire, if you want my seller net sheet, you just let me know, and I will send you over an example of mine so you can see it. The numbers are pretty typically the same for our team in New York. They're a little bit different, but for the most part, they're all very, very similar. You got to deal with attorneys, you got to deal with inspections, so all those things take shape. So what I do is I run right through the commission, and then I say, do you have any questions? I say, listen, I normally take a pause right now and I let you kind of shoot away. Tell me what you got. All right. Part of those objections are usually price, but they're handled very quickly because I say to them at this point, you're absolutely right. I'm not, well, Brock, where do you think we can list your home? And we don't, or they say they don't like your numbers. It typically doesn't happen that way because I already know ahead of time. So I'm just going to say they don't like their number. At this point here, I have to be upfront and honest with them. So if you're taking notes, you must be upfront and honest with them. Several years ago, I made the mistake of telling wanted to hear instead of what they needed to hear. So when we got the listing and we went through, and a lot of the feedback was we needed to paint, we needed to do this. The clients, you never mentioned this to us. Should we have done this earlier? Yeah, anything to them and want to offend them. Guys, at this point here, you got to tell them what is needed for their house. Listen, guys, I really want to get you on this right side of it. I really, really do. You make more money, I make more money, but in the reality, we're way to the left, and I have to be completely transparent with you. They need to have paint. You need to have the carpet to do the pine needles. You need to do the ceiling fans. You need to make sure you got to remove this. You got to do whatever it might be. I got to share with you everything that I have. But I'm also going to follow up with telling people that can help you out with this. Okay, I've been doing it long enough that I can tell you exactly, not exactly, but I can give you a good guesstimate of how much money it's going to cost you. All right. All these things take shape that I need to make sure that I'm ready for, because they're trying to find, because if I don't know, they're going to say, well, that's too much money, or I don't know about this, or explain to me this. How come I have to pay for this? Why doesn't the buyer pay for this? Okay. All this was prepared ahead of time, so I knew what to expect going into it. All right. Of course, they're going to ask you the traditional commissions, and we're going to end it on the commission objection. All right, there's a couple commission objection scripts that you can go with, and they vary. It also depends on what type of person you have. Okay, when somebody asks me, "Hey, Brock, I really want to, like we talked about, commission was very important to us, and we don't feel that 6% is where it is." So the other agent that came in here offered 5.5%. Are you willing to go with that? That's a really, really good question, but unfortunately, I can't. Do you have any other questions for me? Okay, that's it. We complicate it. We come up with every song, skit, and want to justify whatever. It's unfortunately, I can't. But do you have any other questions? Well, what do you mean? I mean, the other agent was able to easily do that. Completely understand that the other agent was able to do that, but that was, that was their money. Are you a little nervous of what they're going to do with your money and how fast they just gave up their 0.5%? I mean, do you care about your percentage? This is why you hire me, is to negotiate deals. If you out negotiated me, and how many times have you negotiated at home? Yeah, not too many. I do time. So if I'm easily out negotiated by you, what do you think I'm going to, they're going to eat me up and chew me out and spit me out on your price. So this is a seller's market. You want me to get you top dollar. You want me to get you in a multiple offer situation. You want me to play hardball, right? I mean, this is the most expensive. That is why I can't. I mean, I'm a negotiator. That's my job. Typically, usually, it doesn't get any further than that because they start to feel a validity. Use things like this of if you're going into a buy side, you might be able to see something that you can negotiate some commission. A lot of agents, well, if you list me as the buy side, I'll reduce my commission. Okay, that's a whole nother conversation piece that we can touch base on and what that looks like and reducing your buyer. Not a big fan of it. I always tell them there's certain strategies that we use to get your money up front. It holds you to the flame a little bit more. So if you are going to reduce your commission, it does happen. I'm not naive to the commission I take is 6%, but there are some strategies. I'll charge you 6% on the front side, and I'll give you 0.25% on the buy side. Okay. And I will take the percentage of my 0.25% from the sell and I put it towards the buyer, because typically they're upsizing. So the listing side will be a little bit cheaper. The buyer side. Why is that? It also holds me that I'm a dollar figure to them, because if they even think about trying to go someplace else, they know that they're sitting on 0.25% with me to help my side, which can help them out with their interest rates or different things, closing costs that they have. So they're going to be more prone to stay with what takes place. All right. These are all little strategies that we use to be able to deal with sellers in that situation. So does anybody have? I know I'm a little bit over 2:00, but I also owe it because I was a little bit late today. But those seller objections are very key. Those are the ones that make or break you. Those are the ones on for sale by owners and expireds. If you don't know how to handle them, you will immediately find yourself hanging up the phone. So keep that in mind when you're talking, or I don't even know. It's funny. I mean, 14,000, 15,000 agents and only 10 people were calling today. So the competition that's out there is not very high. So if you're trying to, I want to take my real estate to the next level, I can tell you this, there's not a lot of people calling FSBOs and expireds. And all you got to do is know the objections and what that looks like. And if you are interested in knowing a little bit more about our objections, you want to know more information, you know how to get in touch with the comment section below. I am me. We share with more about what we do. We do have a new office that we have over here in Lake Norman. It's kind of a Starbucks brew, real estate reality. If you're going to coffee shops, might as well be around people that are doing real estate. Easier to engage with. They can help you out. You can listen to conversations like myself and when I'm having with my for sale by owners and my expireds. You talk to other high level agents. So if you are interested, just send me an IM shipping about our office and about my team. So I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day out there. If you guys need anything or if you have more questions about seller objections or about, let me know. Guys, I really appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing everybody. And I got my event on Thursday here at Lake Norman, so I will not be doing a Coach's Corner on Thursday, but I'll be back on next Tuesday. Guys, have a great day. Talk soon. See ya.